Welcome to Lasea class. I am your teacher, Jan Lasea.
A blessed day to everyone! Today, I present to you the penetration and vulnerability testing using Kali Linux and Metasploitable in learning cybersecurity. Kali Linux is an open source Debian-based Linux distribution geared towards various information security tasks such as penetration testing, security research, computer forensics, and reverse engineering. Metasploitable is an intentionally vulnerable Linux virtual machine used to conduct security training, test security tools, and practice common penetration testing techniques. Let us learn how to hack and exploit the Port 21 File Transfer Protocol or FTP. First, I installed the Oracle VirtualBox in my computer that runs the multiple operating systems or virtual machines. And then, I installed both the Kali Linux and Metasploitable to that virtual box. Next, I assign the IP address of the Kali Linux to 10.0.100.4, while the Metasploitable, I assign an IP address of 10.0.100.5. I configured the Oracle VirtualBox to use the Network Address Translation or NAT network that both Kali Linux and Metasploitable are connected to this network mode in order to perform penetration and vulnerability testing. If we boot or run the Kali Linux, then we simply enter the word Kali written as small letters as username and password. If we boot or run the Metasploitable Linux machine, then we enter the word msfadmin as username and password. Ladies and gentlemen, let me demonstrate how to hack and exploit the Port 21 File Transfer Protocol or FTP. I already logged in to both the Kali Linux and Metasploitable using the given username and password I mentioned a while ago. On the left side of the screen is the Kali Linux window, while on the right is the Metasploitable window. Suppose I like to read the contents of a given file from the Metasploitable by operating it from the Kali Linux. Let me go first to the Metasploitable and show you the given file. I type the command ls-l to list or display all files and folders. The file that I would like to read or to access from Kali Linux is the laseadoc.txt. Let us go ahead to the Kali Linux and let us learn the steps on how to exploit the Port 21 FTP or File Transfer Protocol to gain access control to the Metasploitable Linux machine. From the Kali Linux, let us run the terminal. From the terminal window, I type the command sudo su. This sudo su allows to run a command as a root privileges, which is the equivalent of admin privileges or super user. Next, I type the password, Kali, and then I type this second command. The PostgreSQL is a database engine installed in the Kali Linux, and we need to make sure that the PostgreSQL database engine is up and running so that we can search or retrieve information quickly. Next, I'm going to type this command, msf console. This is the main Metasploitable command line interface that allows testers to scan systems for vulnerability and launch exploits. The next command, I type the command nmap. The nmap command is a tool or utility for scanning networks for open ports and weaknesses. The parameter -sb, it will probe open ports to determine the service or version information. The parameter $O enable OS detection. Next, we need to supply the target machine, which is the Metasploitable Linux machine, its IP address. We know already the IP address of the Metasploitable Linux machine, which is 10.0.100.5. And then we will press the enter key, and it will take some time to scan those open processes that we can exploit or hack. And we need to patiently wait. While waiting, I repeat that this nmap command is a utility for scanning networks for open ports and weaknesses. And then the output of this is that it is a list of the names of ports and their status, if it is open or closed. And the results are already displayed, so we can read them. The following ports, such as 21, 22, 23, and so forth, we can see them, and then their status is open, and then the name of the service is FTP, SSH, Telnet, SMTP, and many more, together with their version. What we want to exploit is the FTP having a port which is 21. The next thing that we will going to do is to copy the version of this FTP which is currently open. So I'm going to highlight and then right click and then copy. And then in the command prompt of the MSF console, I type the command search and then paste it there. We will search that FTP version. The result of the search will display the modules, and then we can read that the module is named exploit /unix /ftp bst fpd _234 backdoor, and this is a we can exploit, which is a module that contain script that we can penetrate the Metasploitable Linux machine. So we will going to type now the command use and then the index of that name of that backdoor, which is 0, as we can read here, and then we press the enter key. And what happens then is that we are already running the process of that backdoor module, the script, and we will type now the next command, which is show options. The result of the command show option will display the name, the current setting, the required and description, and we can see that the name RP port having a current setting of 21 is the FTP. But the rhost name has a blank setting that we can set upon. So the next command that I am going to do is to type the command set remote host, and then we put the IP address of the target machine, which is the Metasploitable Linux machine that we wanted to penetrate or access through that IP address 10.0.100.5. To verify if it is already set upon, we can type again the command show options, and then we can see now that it has now a value to that name remote host, the IP address of our target Metasploitable Linux machine 10.0.100.5. Next, we will type this command show payloads. A payload is a pathway that Metasploit uses to achieve the attack. These are files stored in the modules. The files are simple scripts that the networks utilize to interact with a hack system. And we can see that there is a name of that payload. The name is payload /cmd/unix/interact. To use this payload, we need to copy the name, and then from the command prompt, we type the command set and then paste it there. And then hit the enter key. Once that we set the module of the payload, we will type the command exploit. This exploit command is a program or a piece of code designed to find and take advantage of a security flaw or vulnerability in an application or computer system, typically for malicious purposes such as installing malware. So let us read the information result of the exploit. As it says here that the exploit command is completed, but there is no session was created. It did not run properly the exploit. But we can have an alternative command for that exploit so that we can be able to penetrate by typing the command run, which is the same with that exploit command. If the command exploit will not be successful, the alternative command is the run command. The result of the command run is successful, as we can read that it had already found the shell of our target machine, which is the Metasploitable Linux machine, and then the shell is already open, and we can type now some Linux command, such as I type the command uname to verify if we are already logged into the Metasploitable, uname-a command that will show what is the operating system of the device that we are logged in. And it shows that the name is Metasploitable. So we are already successful the hack or login by passing authentication to that Metasploitable Linux machine. And we can now type some Linux command like ls-l, and then my goal here is I wanted to read that file lasea doc.txt, and I know that the file lasea doc.txt is located in the folder home subfolder msf admin. So I'm going to type the command cd or change directory. I'm going to type /home msf admin and then hit enter key. And we are inside the folder msf admin, and we can type ls command -l to verify what files and folder it contains. And here we can now see the file lasea doc.txt, and we can read its contents by typing the command cat and then lasea doc.txt. And what does it contain? It contains some text message like, "This is a high valued file of John Lasea. Welcome to Metasploitable 2. Have a nice day." If we wanted to know the username of the Metasploitable, we can type this command cat /etc and then /shadow, and here we can read the names of the users, such as the familiar user msf admin. The password of that username msf admin was encrypted, although we know that the password is msf admin, and this is the encrypted file. Next, we go back to the Metasploitable and have a look if the message is the same. So let me go to the right side, type the command clear ls-l, and then we will display the lasea doc.txt, and they are the same. This is a high valued file of John Lasea. Welcome to Metasploitable 2. Have a nice day. And we can type the command cat /atc folder /shadow to display the names, so that we can be able to access the contents of that folder shadow. We need to log in as a root privileges from the Metasploitable. So we will type the command sudo su and type the password msf admin. And then type again cat space atc space /shadow. And they are the same. So that's how to hack and exploit the port 21 file transfer protocol. Let us learn about SQL injection. Still, the Kali Linux IP address is assigned 10.0.100.4, while the Metasploitable IP address is 10.0.100.5. the username and password of the Kali Linux is still the word Kali, whereas the username and password of the Metasploitable is the word MSF admin. A SQL injection is a technique that attackers use to gain unauthorized access to a web application database by adding a string of malicious SQL code to a database query. The first technique of SQL injection is based on 1 is equal to 1 is always true. Assume that we need to enter the username and password through the login screen. Suppose I know the username, which is admin, but I do not know the password. So I can type the word none or any random text followed by a single quote. And I added the logical OR followed by 1 is equal to 1, which is a condition, followed by a hashtag. When I click the login button, then the SQL statement will look like this. Select asterisk from accounts where password is equal to the word none, which is delimited by a single quote, connected by the logical OR, connected by a logical OR, and it is added with a condition 1 is equal to 1. This SQL query command was injected by a malicious code. The single quote is used to end delimiter of a parameter, while the hashtag is a SQL wildcard that represents any single character. The SQL above is valid and it will return all rows from the table accounts since the logical OR with a condition 1 is equal to 1 is always true. Therefore, you are granted access to proceed to the website bypassing authentication. The second technique of SQL injection is based on a empty string delimited by single quote, followed by the equal operator, logical equal operator, followed by another empty string delimited by a single quote. And it is always true. Assume that we need to enter the username and password through the login screen. Suppose I do not know both the username and password, so I entered both the value, single quote, followed by space, followed by the logical OR, followed by space, followed by single quote, followed by another single quote, followed by equal, and then followed by single quote. When I click the login button, then the SQL statement will look like this. Select asterisk from accounts where username is equal to empty string, single quote, connected by the logical N. Password is equal to an empty string, single quote, followed by a logical OR, followed by empty string, delimited by single quote, equal, and then followed by an empty string delimited by single quote. This SQL query command was injected by a malicious code. The SQL above is valid and it will return all rows from the accounts table. Since the logical OR followed by single quote and then another single quote followed by equal followed by single quote, another single quote is always true. Therefore, you are granted access to proceed to the website bypassing authentication. So how do we prevent SQL injection? I used the PHP programming language to show the solution. Let us focus our attention to the secured PHP codes which is written onto this right column. This prepared statement command is very useful against SQL injections. Why? Because parameter values are transmitted later using a different protocol, need not be correctly escaped. If the original statement template is not derived from external input, SQL injection cannot occur. The code on this left column does not use the prepare statement or command, and it is vulnerable from SQL injection. Do not use the PHP command $_get method of passing data from the client PC to the web server PC, because you can read the data sent to the server from the web browser URL address text box. For example, if I type the username admin and then the password admin pass, and then I click the login button, and then the PHP code uses the $_get method of passing data to the server PC. Therefore, if I read the URL address of the web browser, it will look like this. For example, http://localhost/login.php question mark, the variable name, username, followed by the input value admin, the variable password, followed by the input password, which is admin pass. Use instead the $_post, that it will not display the entered information to the URL address when you click the login button. Ladies and gentlemen, let me demonstrate the SQL injection. Let us bypass authentication by applying SQL injection. From the Metasploitable Linux machine, we need first to change some setting of a particular file. So let me go ahead and type the command sudo su. And then next, I'm going to type nano var www mutelyday/config.inc. Let us modify the database name from Metasploit. We will change it to a value OWASP10. OWASP10. And then press Ctrl O to save, and then Ctrl X to exit. And let us go to the Kali Linux machine. Let us run the Mozilla Fox web browser. And from the URL address, I will type the IP address of our target machine, or the Metasploitable Linux machine, which is 10.0.100.5, and hit the enter key. Next, we will click the Mutely Day. In this Mutely Day website, we will click the OWASP top 10, and then hover the mouse and point it to the A1 injection, and then point it to the SQLI bypass authentication, and then select Login. Let us try to log in to the Metasploitable Linux by applying SQL injection. Suppose, for example, I know the name, which is admin, but I do not know the password. So let us apply what we learned about SQL injection techniques. I can type the word none, but since we cannot read it because it is a password text box, it would be best if I'm going to run a text editor. So I click this button to run the text editor. So let me type the password that I'm going to type, none, followed by single quote, followed by the logical OR, followed by space, 1 is equal to 1, hashtag. And I'm going to copy this password and go back to the login screen, and then right click, and then select paste, and let us click the login button. The password successfully bypassed the login authentication, and we are already inside the website. So let us do it again. I click log out, and we go back to our text editor, and I'm going to change the word none to any random password. So let me copy, and then go back to the login screen. I will type the name admin, and then paste the password, and then click the login button. It seems that we did not successfully log in this time. We can try it again. Let us go back to the text editor and change the length of the password. So let us copy that and then try it again. I type the admin user, and then right click, paste, and then click login. And then this time we are successful. We already log in successfully. So let us log out and do some other things. So let us go back to the text editor and let us experiment the next, which is how about this single quote only, followed by OR, followed by space, followed by 1 is equal to 1, and then followed by hashtag. So let us copy that password and try it. So let us go back to the login screen and then type the name, admin, and then paste the password, and then click the login. And we are successful in bypassing the authentication. So let us log out again and go back to the text editor. Suppose I do not know anymore the name, but I can type this name, single quote, followed by space, followed by OR, followed by space, single quote, another single quote, followed by equal, and then followed by single quote. So I'm going to copy this to be the name and password. So let us go back to the login screen and then type, paste that amount, that value, and then also with that password, paste it, and then click Login. And voila! We successfully log in to the Metasploitable Linux machine by applying SQL injection. I made two websites to demonstrate again SQL injection by passing authentication. This is the first website that it is not secured and it does not use the prepare statement in PHP code. The second website is a secured login screen that implements the prepare command. Let us go back to the unsecured login screen. Let us test it by typing again that command, single quote, followed by the logical OR, followed by space, and then single quote, followed by equal, followed by single quote as a username. Likewise, to the password, we will type that value, single quote, space, or space, single quote, another single quote, followed by equal, followed by single quote, and let us click login, and we can read that access is granted. Let us test the secured login screen. We will type again the username, single quote, followed by space, followed by OR, followed by space, double single quote, followed by equal, followed by single quote, and then to the password as well, single quote, followed by space, followed by OR, followed by space, double single quote, followed by equal, followed by single quote. And then we click the login screen. What? And then therefore, we cannot access because it is secured and it shows the message access denied. The code of this not secured login form is written in PHP that it does not use the prepared command. The code that allows us to be protected against SQL injection of this secured login form is written in PHP that implements the prepare command.
That ends our topic for today. I hope you are inspired in my class. Thank you for watching. God bless us.